sometimes it's not the conflict or the pressure or even the fear of commitment that makes avoidance pull away. On the contrary, it's the moments that seem like they should be safe, like they should be good or even beautiful. That's a paradox. That's a paradox so many people miss. So you're finally connecting, you feel close, they seem present, and then something suddenly shifts. They shut down, they change the subject, or they disappear for a few days. It makes no sense, but for avoidance, these moments can be quietly terrifying. And that's why in today's video, we're going to explore 7 unexpected emotional triggers that can cause avoidance to pull away, even when they care deeply. And these aren't the usual fears. These are subtle, often subconscious reactions that confuse even avoidants themselves. My name is Luna A. May, and I'm a life and attachment style coach and author of books on attachment styles, What Attachment Style Are You? And Understanding and Overcoming Anxious Attachment. And my mission is to help people understand their emotional patterns and reconnect with secure, loving relationships that they truly deserve. So let's dive into today's subject. The first trigger: moments of deep connection or joy. This one surprises people the most, but for avoidance, moments of real closeness can be overwhelming. And why is that? It's because their nervous system is wired to associate closeness with eventual pain. So if it feels too good, their brain might go, this is dangerous. This can be taken away from me. So what do? They pull back. And they don't pull back because they don't care. They pull back because caring deeply makes them feel vulnerable. The fear isn't of the moment itself. The fear is of what happened next, the abandonment and the loss of control. The second trigger is feeling emotionally relied on. If you express a need, an avoidant might suddenly retreat. And it doesn't have to be a big need. And it's not that they don't want to show up for you. It's that being emotionally needed often activates old wounds of responsibility and pressure. Many avoidants learned early on that other people's needs were endless, were overwhelming, or even manipulative. So now, even a simple healthy request can feel like a threat to your emotional independence. They fear being consumed, or worse, they fear failing you. So instead of that, they step back before the fear can be realized. The third trigger is being idolized or seen as perfect. So while complimenting an avoidant might seem like a good idea, some avoidants will pull away after receiving praise or affection if they don't feel they've earned it. Because deep down, they may think, if you saw the real me, you wouldn't love me. If you saw the real me, you wouldn't compliment me. This can trigger shame, discomfort, or even suspicion. They start to fear that you are falling in love with an illusion, not with them. And rather than risk being exposed, they prefer to retreat, either emotionally or physically. It's a self-protective response to feeling like they can't live up to your image of them. Okay, let's move on to the fourth trigger: subtle misattunements. You think you are being kind, but they go quiet. You ask what's wrong, and they say nothing, and don't respond for days after that. Avoidants are often hyper attuned to perceived misunderstanding. If they feel like you are projecting something onto them or misreading their intentions, they might shut down. And you have to know it's not because they are trying to punish you. It's only because they don't feel safe clarifying the situation. And instead of trying to fix it, they prefer to distance themselves to avoid further emotional exposure. If you're recognizing these patterns, either in yourself or in someone you care about, know that you are not alone. I work with people who are navigating attachment patterns every day. And I try to help them to understand what's really driving their reactions and how to move towards safer, more grounded connections. So if you want to support with that, you can learn more about one-on-one coaching that I provide in the description box below. But for now, let's keep going. And we move on to the fifth trigger, which is the pressure to stay consistent. So maybe the avoidant started texting daily, planning dates, being emotionally open, and now they feel trapped by the very rhythm they helped create. Avoidants often fear that once they open the door to closeness, they won't be able to close it without hurting you. So instead of adjusting slowly, they disappear entirely. To avoidance, consistency feels like a trap. They are afraid of setting expectations they can't meet long term. So they might ghost you or go cold, just to breathe. The sixth trigger is seeing you in emotional pain. Avoidants often feel helpless around intense emotions, especially your intense emotion. So if you cry, if you get angry, if you feel anxious, their nervous system may interpret it as danger. Not because they think you are wrong for feeling, but because they don't know how to help you. You have to remember that they were often left alone with their own pain, so your feelings trigger their own unhealed memories. And their instinct in this situation is distance. And it's not because they don't care about you, but because they care and that they don't know what to do with it. The seventh last trigger is feeling seen in a way they didn't control. Avoidants often like to control how they are seen. If you reflect something back to them, an insight, a truth, an emotional pattern, they may get defensive or go quiet. So why is that? It's because it threatens their sense of control. It makes them feel exposed. They fear being labeled, cornered, or psychoanalyzed. Even if your insight is loving, it can trigger a sense of shame. So, as a response, they emotionally retreat. You have to remember that avoidants don't pull away because they don't care. They pull away because something inside them feels too vulnerable, too seen, or too unprotected. And these hidden triggers don't always make logical sense, but they make emotional sense once you understand the wiring underneath. If you are avoidant leaning, these insights aren't meant to shame you. They are here to bring awareness. Because when you can see the trigger, you can soften your response. You can choose something different. You can choose how you react if you give yourself a little bit of space. And if you are in a relationship with an avoidant, this is your reminder. Their pullback isn't always personal. It's not personal most of the time. But that doesn't mean your feelings don't matter. Of course, they matter. And you deserve emotional clarity, reciprocity, and repair. If this resonated with you, the next video that I would recommend is why avoidance shut down during conflict. It takes everything we've discussed today a little step further, and it will help you understand what happens inside the avoidance when emotions rise. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.